Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit, Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Renee, for that beautiful prelude to help us get in the mind and the space for our service this morning. Good morning. My name is Melly Edge Adams. I'm a member of the Chalice team that helps to plan our services. I also sing in the choir. I welcome you today to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religious tradition that values freedom in religious thought and journey. We uphold the unity of our interconnections to each other, to all of life, and to the precious universe of which we are all a part. We affirm the universality of love and hope as we journey together in community, and we welcome you, whoever you are at this moment, and wherever you are in your spiritual journey. For those of us joining for the first time online, please check out the website, uufayetteville.org, for more information and to sign up to receive the weekly email. For those visiting us here in person today, you'll find in the seat in front of you, there's a little pocket. You'll find a Joys and Concerns card. You'll also find a white card that is a visitor card. It's an information card. If you didn't get a clipboard in the lobby, we would love for you to fill out that card so we can get you on the email list and keep you informed of the things that are happening here at UUFF and in our wider community. And you can always unsubscribe if you want to. The yellow card is for joys and concerns. If you have a joy or a concern that you'd like to share, we invite you to fill out a card, and those will be collected in a basket during the joys and concerns part of the service. You can go ahead and fill them out anytime you want so you don't feel rushed like I always do. If you're watching on Facebook, you may write joys and concerns in the comments there at that time, but be aware that those comments will be made public. Also, children are fully welcome here. If your child gets noisy or fidgety, we are fine with that. You and they may stay in here, or if you prefer, you may step outside. The choice is yours. Thank you for joining us today in this service. Now, Reverend Stephen will deliver our call to worship.
I just heard somebody say we also have childcare. That's an important thing for you to know, that is available for you in the nursery. The words that call us to worship this morning were written by Joe Von Rue and Lynette Lowe. Welcome to this space, this sanctuary of peace, where we come to not only create our best selves, but to also do the work of creating a beloved community. We come together today as individuals, much like individual pieces of glass or pottery that are different shapes, sizes, and colors, all of which are broken, with imperfect, jagged edges, but always beautiful. While our pieces may not fit neatly together, it is within this sanctuary, guided by our principles, that we gather together to create a beautiful mosaic. May the brokenness and beauty you find in one another create peace in this space and fill our hearts with love as we create worship together. And now Everly and Arlo will light the chalice.
Arlo ditched us for the nursery this morning, so it's just Emily.
We invite you to join us reading these words as we light our chalice. The words are on the screen and in the order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and truth, and to help one another, thus do we covenant together. Now let's sing hymn number 360, Here We Have Gathered.
All rise, as you're willing or able.
Here we have gathered side by side, circle of friendship, come and step inside. May all who seek here find a kindly word. May all who speak here feel they have been heard. Sing now together this our heart's own song. Here we have gathered, called to celebrate days of our whose time, earthful and great. We all who ages, women and bees all, infants and virgins, sharing what we can, sing now together this our heart's own song. Life has its battles, sorrows and regret, but in the shadows let us not forget. We who now gather know each other's pain. Kindness can heal us, as we give we gain. Sing now together this our heart's own song.
Good morning, friends. All right, so before we start our Time for All Ages this morning, we have some things to pass out. I think we got some of the folks who showed up, but I may have been talking when you came in today. So if you choose to participate, we have some doodling, coloring activity during our Time for All Ages today. If you need a piece of paper and some crayons, would you raise your hand?
Hey friends, in this little space of time while we're all getting ready, please take a moment to make sure that your cell phones are silenced. I know some of us use them to fidget during service, but let's please make sure they're silenced because there's a lot of awesome noises happening already. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so if you're like me, you might have paper and crayons and be like, I need a surface. Of course, there are handy dandy hard books all around you, so just grab that and pretend like it's a cute clipboard. Today's story for all ages, and Maddie is going to help me read. It's a UU story about the chalice. It's called A Cup of Light, and the author is Pamela Baxter, and the illustrator is Terry Stafford. Each Sunday, Unitarian Universalism, Unitarian Universalists, and congregations everywhere light a chalice. Lighting the chalice shows that the worship service is starting, and it reminds us that this time together is special. And we had a fabulous chalice lighting this morning, courtesy of Everly and Leanda.
Some families light a chalice before eating dinner. Sometimes we light a chalice when we are traveling far away from home, which gives us a sense of comfort in a strange place. The chalice helps us remember that near or far Unitarian Universalists are connected in spirit.
Chalices come in many shapes and sizes. We have a beautiful one here. If anybody's been downstairs to the kids' class, we have a chalice that we light. And it's really just one of those little battery-operated candles that we just turn on and put in a chalice that a kid made probably 20 years ago. It's pretty cool. Some of them are large, others are small, some are plain, and others are fancy. By the way, if you are itching to go ahead and use those crayons, you can go ahead and draw a chalice or color a chalice.
No matter what shape, size, or color, they may be the one thing that makes Unitarian Universalist chalices the same. They hold a flame. The chalice with the flaming chalice, is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism.
You can find pictures of flaming chalices on banners and signs, on jewelry and clothing, even on pencils and bumper stickers. We might have some of those in the parking lot this morning. Take a look around a Unitarian Universalist church or event. How many places do you see the Unitarian Universalist symbol?
A chalice is a special cup. A cup may hold water to refresh someone who is thirsty. A cup may hold soup to nourish someone who is hungry. A cup can help sustain life.
Chalices have been used in religious ceremonies around the world for centuries. They can also be symbols for achievement or celebration. Your award for winning a spelling bee may look like a cup. Your family may have a set of glasses that you use only for special occasions.
Fire is mysterious. We can feel its heat, but we can't actually touch it or hold it. Fire makes things change. It can melt metal or turn a mound of sticky dough into a hot loaf of bread.
Fire provides warmth and light. It only takes a small flame to brighten the darkness, just a small fire to warm a cold night.
Unitarian Universalists put the chalice and the flame together to make a symbol of the flaming chalice. Here are some ways to think about what the flaming chalice represents.
The chalice might be our loving community. The flame change. We're each changed by being part of this loving community. The chalice might be our sharing community, the flame mystery. Together, Unitarian Universalists explore the great mysteries of life.
For some, the flaming chalice might mean hope. It reminds us of how much good we can do when we work together.
Some people say the flaming chalice reminds them of joy and celebration, like the candles on a birthday cake.
Everyone is special. Everyone has a special light inside. When we let our light shine and share it with others, we make the world a better place. Each of us is like a flaming chalice.
Wow. Have you ever thought about yourself as a walking, talking, breathing chalice? Pretty cool. What does the flaming chalice mean to you? If you drew a picture of your idea, what would it look like? Renee, would you be willing to improvise a little bit of music, and people can take time to, anything you want to play, and people can take time to draw a picture of what the flaming chalice might mean to you. Unitarian Universalists light the chalice. They often say some special words called chalice lightings. Here are some chalice lightings that you might like to use. You could also make up a chalice lighting of your own.
We light this chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands.
And that's the one the kids use downstairs. I'm not sure if the youth use it, but the kids say it every time we get together. So if there are any kids in here and they know it, we can say it together. You ready? We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. And I have to tell you why they're all laughing, because I always get the words mixed up. I reverse heart and hands all the time. So the little stinker in the back is like saying, yeah, he's trying to trip me up. Anyway, it's a joke now. But we'll move on. Okay, here are some other chalice lightings. We light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action.
Flaming chalice, burning bright, we kindly share with us your light. Help us learn how we may care for all people everywhere.
I light this light for freedom. I light this light for truth. I light this light for beauty. I light this light for diversity. I light this light for unity.
Each Sunday in congregations everywhere, Unitarian Universalists extinguish the chalice's flame when classes and services are over. But even though the flame is gone, the light it represents never really goes out. It shines in me, it shines in you, it shines in all of us. Let your light shine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie, and the accompaniment. We are a diverse community of people, and this is a time when we share our joys and concerns. We share when we are happy or when we are angry, when we rejoice or when we mourn, but in all times we support and care for each other. So we invite you to share your ups and downs as you desire. You may put your cards in the baskets or write your comments under the Facebook live stream. On the cards, you can indicate whether your comment is confidential or whether you want it to be shared. And just know the joys and concerns posted on Facebook will be public and shared. Thank you all as we hold these joys and concerns in our hearts. I'm going to drop a few stones for all these joys. I drop a few stones for the concerns, and I drop stones for unexpressed joys and concerns in our hearts. And now, Reverend Stephen has a reading for us.
Our words of meditation come from John Saxon. I invite you to join me in a time of prayer, meditation, and reflection, to be fully present here and now in this sacred time and space with ourselves, with each other, and with that which is larger than ourselves. Source of all life, all love, all hope, known by many names and in many ways. We don't know who or what you are, or even whether you can be called a who or what. Our words fail us. Our minds fail us when we ponder the enormity, diversity, complexity, wonder, and beauty of the universe and this world. And yet we sense, more than we know, that our lives are part of a larger life, that we are indeed connected with everyone and everything in one interdependent web of being. And that there is something, both immanent and transcendent, that nurtures and sustains our lives and life itself. Something that calls us and all life to greater wholeness and harmony. We give thanks this morning for all of the gifts and blessings of life. For this day, for the beauty and wonder and mystery of life, for our families and friends, for health and work, for opportunities to learn and love and grow, for the love and support of others in times of illness or despair, but we remember too that others here in this room, here in this city and around the world, live in poverty, hunger, fear, illness, isolation, violence, and economic insecurity. In the silence of this room and in the silence of our hearts, may we hear the call to a wider perspective and a deeper resolve. May we live with greater compassion and care for ourselves, others, and creation. May we touch each other more deeply, hear each other more clearly, and see each other's joys and sorrows as our own. May we strive to be and become more than we are, more loving, more forgiving, more kind, more honest, more open, more connected, more whole. May we heal and be healed. May we face the uncertainties and tragedies of life with hope, faith, and courage, knowing that life is good and that we are not alone. And in these moments of silence, may our hearts speak silently all the prayers of our lives, our soul's greatest joys and deepest sorrows, our triumphs and failures, our regrets and fears, our disappointments and losses, our hopes and dreams. May it be so. Amen. Near the beginning of each year, our nation experiences the State of the Union address. In that speech, the president gives an update about the nation's situation and agenda. Communication scholars Carlin Kors Campbell and Kathleen Hall Jamieson studied numerous presidential speeches of many kinds, and they wrote about State of the Union addresses for the Oxford Handbook of Rhetorical Studies. Their chapter says that State of the Union addresses reaffirm continuity, respond to the past, and revivify and sustain the nation's identity. However, even as these messages address enduring national questions, the agendas they offer vary with the period in which they are presented and the specific circumstances. And details from the American Presidency Project indicate that since 1964, this nation's president's average State of the Union speaking times have ranged from Nixon's 35 minutes and 26 seconds to the 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 20 seconds of Biden's predecessor. That's what a State of the Union address does. But what is a State of Unitarian Universalism address? Well, this State of Unitarian Universalism address is similar to, but different from, a State of the Union address. Both deal with the past, present, and future. Both reflect on what has happened, both consider current situations, and both present agendas for future efforts. But unlike a State of the Union address, this State of Unitarian Universalism speech doesn't focus on a budget or highlight the president's role. This address isn't even presented by the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association. That's the Reverend Dr. Susan Frederick Gray, and I am me. And another difference, a very important difference, between a State of the Union address and this State of Unitarian Universalism address is that this one is much shorter. I said that a State of the Union address interacts with history, and I talked about our history a few weeks ago. Here's a little refresher in case you missed that service or don't remember everything I say. Universalist and Unitarian perspectives have been controversial in history. They have been labeled heretical and people have been martyred for them, but those perspectives also have been sources and expressions of freedom for many of us, and they have changed over time. Unitarianism in Christianity started out in opposition to the idea that God was three in one. Then Unitarian thinking evolved to perceive all religions as worshiping the same God, and then evolved further to perceive theistic and non-theistic traditions as honoring and celebrating what was of utmost importance to them, whether they used God terms or not, whether they uplifted some version of God or goddess or humanity or nature or love or something else. Universalism in Christianity started out as a belief that God would save everyone, that everyone eventually would end up in heaven. Then Universalist thinking evolved to incorporate a more this-worldly understanding of salvation. It's no longer just about anticipation of an afterlife. Now Universalism can allow us to think about the here and now and can encourage us to work toward a better world, a better humanity that cares for the whole interdependent web. Unitarian and Universalist congregations in this nation merged in the mid-20th century, forming the Unitarian Universalist Association. And Unitarian Universalism is more than Unitarianism plus Universalism. Unitarian Universalism is more than God is one and saves all. It's a deep and eclectic tradition that embraces all of us with our various spiritualities and worldviews and gives us opportunities to celebrate what's important and to pursue things the world desperately needs, things like love and peace and justice. The last few pages of our story for all ages illustrate that. Stephanie read through page 20, and now I will read the last 3 pages. They won't be on the screen. this is the story of the flaming chalice, a little bit about the history. Before it became the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, the flaming chalice was the symbol of the Unitarian Service Committee, USC. When it started in 1940, this group's most important what happened here? There we go. Okay. When it started in 1940, this group's most important mission was to rescue Jews from Europe. The brand new USC needed a symbol it could use, something like that used by the Red Cross. They wanted a symbol of hope that said, "We will help you, you can trust us." The Jewish people who needed assistance came from many different countries and spoke many different languages. The symbol had to be something easy to recognize. The USC also needed an official symbol for the documents they provided to the people they were trying to help. At that time, anyone traveling had to show proof of their identity. Anyone traveling with Jewish identification papers would be arrested. The USC hoped that if their fake documents had a symbol that looked important, no one would ask questions. This way, people could travel to safety. The American Unitarian minister Waitstill Sharp and his wife Martha set up a USC office in Lisbon, Portugal, where another minister, Reverend Charles Joy, joined them. There, they met an artist named Han Deutsch, who had fled from his home in Austria. Reverend Joy asked the artist if he would create a symbol for the group. Deutsch designed a chalice with a flame. This symbol was made into a seal for papers, and USC volunteers wore badges bearing the emblem. To many people, the chalice with the flame represented bravery, compassion, and hope, and a way to safety. It is still the emblem for the USC, which is now the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. The group continues to bring help and hope to people around the world. In 1961, the Unitarian and the Universalist churches decided to join together. Eventually, they decided that they needed a symbol too. The Universalists already had their own, a cross set to one side in a circle. The Unitarian Church did not have a symbol. The Unitarian Universalist Association officially adopted the flaming chalice as its symbol in 1976, and lighting a chalice started to become a part of many Unitarian Universalist services. Long before that, children in Unitarian Universalist classrooms were already lighting chalices as part of certain curricula and programs. Lighting a chalice in adult services may have spread from something that started with the children. The practice of lighting a chalice in a classroom as children begin their learning and exploring time together each Sunday has become a common one. Today, most UU congregations begin their Sunday service by lighting a chalice. Lighting and extinguishing the chalice have become common ingredients of a UU service. And the flaming chalice, since its UU beginning, has been a symbol of inclusion, a symbol of the worth and dignity of every person. The core symbol of our faith is a justice symbol. That's a little about our history. Next is a short bit about our current situation. We are a local autonomous congregation that's part of the Unitarian Universalist Association. The UUA practices congregational polity, meaning that each congregation governs itself through democratic process in alignment with UU principles. And one thing I find fascinating and promising is that the UUA and UU Fayetteville have very similar interests. Both are committed to the value of every person. Both are committed to free thought. Both are committed to justice and peace and respect for the interdependent web of all existence. All this was evident in last month's General Assembly of the UUA. That event happens each year, and several important things happened at this year's assembly in Portland. I will mention the three that seem most important to me. First, further progress was made in moving toward adopting our eighth principle. And a step in that direction was a lecture by Dr. Ibram X. Kendi, the author of How to Be an Anti-Racist. Right now, we have 7 principles. These are the commitments shared in covenant by the UUA and its member congregations. 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. 2, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. 3, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. 5, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. 7, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. And an 8th principle has been in the works for a few years and hopefully will be ready for a vote soon. I don't know what soon means there. The current vision of the proposed 8th principle is a commitment to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. Those of us who care about social justice can easily read our 7 principles and find commitments to racial justice and other social justice. Justice is in the principles. But apparently, there's a way to read our principles while ignoring or rejecting the reality of systemic injustice, including racial injustice. And the 8th principle can correct that. So the first important thing that happened at this year's assembly is continued movement toward adopting the 8th principle. The second thing I want to mention is the UUA's response to a decision by the Supreme Court. And we go to the black slide, please. Thank you. Now, I want to be careful here because we can get into ugly legal trouble if I overtly endorse or oppose a political party or politician while speaking as a representative of UUFF. So let me be clear. The Supreme Court is not a political party or a politician. And I personally and professionally, privately and publicly disagree with the Supreme Court's recent decision to remove legal protection of reproductive health care. That decision happened when the UUA General Assembly was in session. When thousands of UU clergy and lay leaders are together is an interesting time for the Supreme Court to do something so evil. Of course, several GA participants gathered publicly to protest. And the UUA president issued this statement. This anti-choice decision by the Supreme Court infringes on our deeply held religious beliefs. Access to abortion and the right to choose is an issue of gender equality, bodily autonomy, and religious liberty, all of which are long-held Unitarian Universalist religious teachings. As I said when the draft decision was leaked in May, I fear this decision will justify efforts to further limit the rights of women, pregnant people, and other vulnerable people and communities. Curtailing reproductive rights will be felt most by people of color, young people, poor and working class people, and those living in rural areas. The rights of people in more vulnerable communities will only become more limited and diminish healthcare equity. Too many people are already deprived of ready access to comprehensive and equitable reproductive health care, including abortion access. Unitarian Universalists are committed to reproductive justice, a framework created by Black women in the 1980s and 1990s, which affirms the human right to have children, not to have children, to parent the children one has in healthy environments, and to safeguard bodily autonomy, and to express one's sexuality freely. The UU faith has a long history of collaborating in this movement and advocating for safe, legal, accessible abortion care. The Dobbs versus Jackson women's health decision does not alter Unitarian Universalists' commitment to reproductive justice. Comprehensive reproductive care, including access to abortion, is essential to the health and well-being of individuals and families. The decision to limit this basic human right means that this fight will shift to state legislatures across the country. Guided by our moral values, we are prepared to be a part of that ongoing struggle and continue to show up for reproductive justice in all aspects of public life. Our faith calls us to advocate on behalf of all those who need ready access to safe, legal abortion care whenever and wherever they need it. We will not rest until that reality is true across the country. I urge lawmakers, elected officials, and leaders in public life across the country to take action for gender and healthcare equity for all. The UUA's response is more than language. There's also action. In addition to the protesting and this statement from the UUA president, there is an upcoming 3-part reproductive justice congregational organizing series on 3 consecutive Thursday evenings starting July 21st. And we can participate if at least 2 members attend all 3 sessions. If you're interested, please email me for the registration link, because if you just ask me face-to-face, I won't have it. I need to email it to you. So please email me. My address is Stephen, Steven, at uufayetteville.org. And that has a lot of E's. You might want to pay attention. At this year's General Assembly, there was forward movement toward adopting the 8th principle, and there was response to the Supreme Court's decision against reproductive justice. The third thing I want to mention is an election victory. 2 candidates for UUA board positions opposed the association's focus on justice and encouraged an openness to free thought. I agree that free thought is important. It's even one of our principles. But our free thought needs to be understood and practiced in the context of the rest of the UUA's principles. And I was so hoping that the UUA would respond with a strong stance. And we did. Approximately 90% of votes went to the anti-justice candidates' opponents. Yes, made me proud to be a UU. The association made a clear statement. We practice free thought in the pursuit of justice. After the history and after the current situation, that is an important piece of our agenda, a crucial part of where we are going. More and more, Unitarian Universalism is becoming our best self, a spiritual home for various people of diverse beliefs, practices, cultures, genders, and other identities. We have not been perfect in this, and we aren't perfect now, but we are moving in good directions. And it is an exciting time to be a Unitarian Universalist. That development isn't just in the National Association, but it's also in this congregation. We are committed to free thought in the pursuit of justice, free thought in collaboration with our principals, free thought that leads to informed and responsible action that works toward our dream of the beloved community where all are loved, supported, valued, and welcomed in every level of congregational life. And that shapes who we are and what we do. It's why we practice collaborative leadership and democratic decision-making. It's why we have various service styles, knowing that different styles help different people. It's why we seek out ways of learning and experiencing diverse beliefs and practices from various traditions, such as Buddhism, humanism, paganism, Judaism, and Christianity. It's why all of us are welcome here, whatever service style fits us best, whatever our spiritualities and theologies, and however we identify or speak or dress. It's why we work toward climate justice. And it's why many of us find ways to oppose legal actions that stomp on reproductive rights and threaten freedoms of marginalized groups. That is our future. And we're all invited.
Thank you, Brother Stephen. Let's all rise.
And I thought that we would sing hymn number 18. Let's just do the first verse. I picked this hymn because it is the friendship hymn. And church is so much about friendship for me. What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul. What wondrous love is this, O my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. You may be seated.
If you'll join me in extinguishing our chalice, the words are on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts, and so we are together again. And now Mike is going to tell us about our announcements and the offering.
Hi. I've got the offering and announcements. The important work of this fellowship is possible because of generous contributions of time, energy, and money. If you are visiting, we are not here expecting anything from you. If you're our guest, we are glad you're here. If you're a member, this is the one way to participate in our work of love, peace, and justice in this community. Every contribution of every size is helpful and appreciated. And as we pass the offering baskets, we invite you to share financially. If you prefer, you may give online at uufayetteville.org or mail checks to our office.
Thank you, Mike. Life is always changing. Throughout our lives, we learn and grow, we become. And I can say the same about Unitarian Universalism. It is a living tradition, always striving to become its best self for the sake of the world. Thank you to those of you who have participated in this tradition for decades. You have experienced a lot of change. And thank you to those of you who are relatively new to the tradition. Buckle your seatbelts for a wild ride. And thanks to all of you for being part of this tradition, whether you are here weekly or occasionally or today for the first time, as Unitarian Universalism adjusts to become its best self. May that tradition encourage and empower you to become your best self. Renee?
Hey, this is the postlude. You're welcome to get up and make your way to get the coffee and stuff. I want some honey. I want some honey for my tea. Yeah. I want some honey. I want some honey for my tea. Why don't you come on over here now, darling, and bring that honey to me? Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot breathe like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can change the world from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Yeah. All right.